Hey everybody, this is Ahi from Geek Moms Co. and we're going to take a deep dive into Instagram stories. Now, if you fall into the category where you're using Instagram to reach your audience and you're posting all of these Instagram stories and you get a lot of views in the beginning, but those views are dropping off by the story. Literally, you're starting off with a big number and then maybe you get half of that for the next story and then half of that, half of the half and the story after that. And next thing you know, you got one or two views on your stories throughout the rest of your day. We're going to give some tips on how you can keep a consistent view throughout all of your stories. And then for those who don't know what Instagram stories are, I'll explain it now. So Instagram stories or Insta stories are pretty much the same thing as Snapchat. So for those who don't use Snapchat, Instagram stories are basically where you use a certain feature in Instagram. You swipe, once you're on the home page of your Instagram account, you can swipe to the right. Swipe your finger to the right and you'll see a camera. And with that camera, you can either go live, you can take a picture, you can record a video, you could do a boomerang, which is doing the same movement over and over again in a loop. Or you can, I think I covered it all, live, video, photos, boomerang, or you can go hands-free where you touch the button and you could put the phone down and do a little 30-second, 20-second video. And that content, those videos, those photos, the live broadcast, it will only stay up for the next 24 hours and they disappear. And the way that you can view them is you can either go to somebody's profile page and click their profile picture and you can see their Insta story, or when you're on your home page on Instagram after logging in, you see a whole bunch of profile pictures at the top and you can automatically see everyone's Insta story or see them live in the moment while they're talking to their audience. So these Instagram stories, they're very, very useful for those who use Instagram. It kind of gives people a insight of what you're doing in the last 24 hours, and it fascinates people, especially when it comes to celebrities and stuff like that. And you could, with these Instagram stories, you can also message people directly. A lot of people run ads on them where you can swipe up on their Insta story and you get a link to their website or their YouTube video or whatever they want to direct you to. Like, it's very, very useful if you are using Instagram to advertise your business or to reach a larger audience. But there's some things that drive viewers away when you're using Instagram stories, and that's what we're going to cover now. So one of the big key things that I see in Instagram stories that not only drive many viewers away, but also drive me away when I'm looking is consistent talking in your Instagram story. I've seen this a lot with people, and sometimes people can't help it. Unless you are telling a really, really deep and depth story where it's going to have a plot twist or it's going to have a big bang in the end, like that, you may want to talk out, and you might want to do that for a good 4 to 5 stories, and maybe that's about it. But if you're having more than 5 stories where you're just talking and talking and talking and talking, and that plot twist or the what is it called, the big kicker, or the word is not coming to mind right now, but you know what I'm saying. Like if the point of your story isn't coming up in the next 5 stories, people are going to get bored. People are going to drop off right away. So you have to drive them home right away. Now we're in a day and age where people get bored easily. Commercials used to be 30 seconds. Now there's this new thing called bumps or banner ads. I got to double check on that, where it's a 6-second ad. If you look through Facebook now, when you're looking at your videos, there's a little circle at the bottom that says ads coming, or ad is coming in, and then it's like a spinner at the bottom, and then those ads run about 6 seconds. So you have to capture people's attention right away when you're doing these Instagram stories. And one way that you can do that, if you follow Gary Vee, he's really, really good at this. Even if you have to talk out a story, you can use different graphics or images that people will pay attention to while you're talking out your story. Or maybe cut it up a bit, finish the story and then add images throughout your Instagram story. So that's my tip. I'll bring more soon. And that's about it. Hey again, this is going to be part 2 of a deep dive into Instagram stories. Now, another tip that I have to give is I followed this woman on Snapchat. Her name was Patricia, and she was doing a Snapchat interview with special guests. And she was interviewing lots of people in Chicago, and like she branded this whole like Snapchat interview thing, which was really, really great. And not only did it keep her viewers focused on her and what she was doing, but also they were intrigued by whoever she was interviewing. And not only was she interviewing these people, but she was also showing their work and showing what they do, and like just keeping her viewers like inspired and motivated to continue watching and learn as much as they can. And once she built up her audience, the audience had to, in a way, they had to see her content because they knew it was going to disappear after 24 hours. So if they saw something that they really, really liked, there wasn't the case of like, okay, I'll watch it later when I have time. It's like, okay, let me watch it now before it disappears, because you never know how long ago she actually posted it. So that's another thing that you can do with your Instagram stories is interview other people, have people tell their stories. Instead of you telling your story, have them tell it. And then another idea that you can do is, I've seen this happen with YouTube channels, YouTube videos, Facebook videos, webinars, presentations. I've seen this happen everywhere. And this is something else that you can do for your Instagram stories. And that is give your audience some type of reward at the end of your stories to keep them listening, to see if they win that award or won that contest. And you can give away almost anything. That you could say, hey, at the end of this, I'm going to take a screenshot of your Instagram page and give you a shout out. Shout outs are always free. You don't have to pay for anything. You're just giving them a shout out, and they are reaching a wider audience. And that's what everybody pretty much wants at this point, especially if you're running a business on Instagram. Or you can give some type of freebie away, and you tag them and you do a direct message to them and you send them a link to your freebie. Or you can give like a 10% discount to your shop, or $20 off, or just any type of freebie or gift that you can offer your customers. You can say, hey, at the 6 o'clock hour, or 6 hours from now, or 12:30 p.m. tomorrow, like we're going to announce a winner. So that way your viewers are going to keep watching your Instagram stories to see if they won. And it's pretty hard to kind of skip all the different stories without finding out whether or not they won. And it's even hard to like go back. So in a way, they are forced to kind of watch your whole story to figure out whether or not they won. That's another thing that you can do. And then the biggest part of Instagram to keep in mind is that Instagram is more of a visual platform. So you have to visually please your audience. You have to entertain, educate. I forgot the 3 keys, but it's always entertain or educate. And then I forgot the third one. I think it's like reach some type of emotion or give them some type of emotional reaction to your content. I'll bring that back later once I look it up and look at my notes. But your content has to be visual. Instagram is a visual platform, and if you're not giving them anything that's visually stimulating, it's going to bore your viewers and they're going to drop off like flies. So again, your action items are to look through what you're posting out there and think of different ways that you can visually stimulate your audience, either through graphics. You could add graphics, you could take pictures of where you're at, and then even upload that, or take what I like to call a B-roll video, and then talk over your video if you need to, just to have your audience look at something else. Or you could also have them look at your face, which is fine. But once you go through too many Instagram stories where you're constantly talking, it will bore your audience. And then do some type of giveaway. Think of freebies that you can give your audience, and then call them out. Whoever's viewing, call them out, and it'll get them excited when you're tagging them to stuff. And then also think of who you could interview. Bring your kids. I bring my kids into my stories all the time because they're always here. You could probably hear them in the background. So these are different ways that you can get engagement from your viewers and keep them viewing and consistent throughout your whole Instagram stories.